My fault, that was the wrong screen there. But what is up, y'all? I am back. I'm here today. I know it's a really late stream, and I had told y'all I was gonna be back on schedule starting pretty much yesterday. But then, guess what ended up happening that I completely forgot? Well, not that I forgot, I was planning it, but I forgot that it was going to be a little bit of a dent into my live streams, which I still want to be consistent with my lives. Damn, my hoodie's kind of like, is a little bit too messed up, which I still, of course, want to be consistent with my lives, which is why I'm actually here today, because I could have just missed today's live stream, but I decided, F it, I'm gonna be here today. Um, but pretty much, like, my partner's birthday is literally, well, I guess in a couple of days, but technically, we ended up celebrating it today, which I thought it was next Sunday, so I thought I was gonna have enough time to kind of plan a couple of things, as in when I was gonna do my live stream. But because I ended up getting caught off guard, I literally was just super like there was just something every hour, because then I ended up waking up early because I was supposed to have my hair cut, but then my barber ended up canceling, which made me begin to be able to buy decorations a little bit earlier, but then it took a long time to actually get the decorations up and steady and running. So then that was a task within itself. And then I believe, like, last but not least, there was just so much, y'all. Just so much that was going on. I was like, damn, you gotta be kidding me. You know what I mean? But everything ended up ultimately falling into place though. So after we pretty much I did the decorations, and then I had already bought gifts, but we ended up going shopping a little bit, a little bit more for my partner's birthday, and then we went out to eat, we went to the movies, yada yada. By the time all of that was done, it was 11:30. I pretty much just got home, literally just got home. I haven't even ate my food. I bought McDonald's because I don't really, we went to Juicy Seafood and I don't really eat seafood, so I just bought some McDonald's right now so that I could eat it, but I'm on live stream. I did currently find time to or no, actually no, I'm stupid. Well, not stupid, but I didn't really study today, but I did like review, and I will continue to review after this. But I didn't full blown study yet, which is alright. I know I could just do it after this stream, but I really wanted to hop on here and just let y'all know that that is pretty much what ended up going down. And then there was just so many different things that honestly have ended up happening, because something I don't believe I showed you, I may have showed y'all, but I did get this smartwatch, which I finally got to be working. So it has the time, it checks your heart rate, all that stuff. I'm not sure how accurate a lot of that stuff is, but I do believe if you word it correctly, that can be considered IT work, especially if you're having a lot of trouble with it and you go to fix it, it's troubleshooting. And when you configure it, it's configuring it. So this was pretty nice. And like I said, I do plan to get my partner one, which I will be able to modify it in that way as well, be able to use that as some experience. I got some cameras I need to go and set up. Not sure if I'm gonna do it tomorrow or maybe next week Sunday, probably next week Sunday. But I do have some potential good news to share, which one of them is, you know how I was telling y'all at my current job, I just am waiting for a position to open up specifically for IT support. So tell me why. Not that a position has opened up, but I've seen a position in this specific company, because when you are internal, especially at this specific company, you could apply to different jobs in this company, but across the world in a way. It would be called an internal, it still would be called an internal transfer, but it's just across the world. And pretty much in a different state, I was just looking at what, because they had a certain position out, and it was an entry level IT support position. I think it was called IT support specialist tier 1. The only thing is that this certain position wasn't unionized, so I'm kind of considering that. I guess I was wrong about thinking that the IT support position at my current job would be unionized. I guess that's not the case. I guess it's actually going to not be unionized, but for the starting pay, y'all, and this is on like something that I could apply for, like I literally feel qualified for it. I was looking at everything I was asking for. The only thing is like I said though, it is simply in a different state, so I wouldn't apply for it. But tell me why the starting pay was 88,000 on salary. And I was like, yo, like it would be different if I seen it on Indeed, if I seen it on LinkedIn, because then I would probably think, okay, this is probably fake. You know what I mean? But to actually see it on the internal transfer in at my specific job, just in a different state, um, for an entry level position, I was like, yo, ain't no way. It was 88K to 104. But like I said, it's not unionized, meaning there's less protection there. Could literally get fired for anything, to be honest. But which is why they normally tend to give that much of a pay, because they know it's not stable and it's not secure. But it was just so strange to actually see that there. I was like, damn, for an entry level position. So imagine what tier 2, tier 3, all of that shit looks like. I was like, yo. So a part of me, which I'm not sure, because you know how some states can offer that type of position because of the state. But either way, a part of me was thinking that since I do know that and I kind of know when my job allows for internal transfers, I was thinking maybe this next year, as in 2026, focus strongly on certifications and degree. Not saying I'm enrolled for the degree, but basically just pre-study it, because I plan on getting my degree with WGU, so you can kind of get the degree whenever you want in that sense, because you could get your degree in a year if you did it fast enough, right? So I want to like pre-study for it in the 2026, but then I was thinking by 2027, if my job is offering a position by then, for which I don't care if it's like, as long as it's like 60K and above, I think I would be fine to like take that leap. Because then once I get that type of well, I'll probably say 70K and above. If it's 60K, in my head, like, that's not kind of worth it, especially on salary, because you wouldn't even be able to do overtime. But if it's like 70K on salary, I think I would probably do it, get that experience, show that I worked in a government type of building, and then probably try to transfer that experience and like apply to different jobs, maybe in healthcare. I feel like that's something I would like to get into, or probably just stay at that job, but go for something like that. If not that, then I'd rather just work part-time, get the part-time experience, and then pretty much work my way into the hospital, basically until I'm like a network engineer. And then once I become a network engineer, then quit my main job, because that feels more stable, more permanent. But either way, I was like, yo, that is just crazy for a position I feel like I simply just feel qualified for, an entry-level position, and I seen with my own eyes that an internal transfer, something I could have applied for if it was in my state, was paying 88K on salary for an entry level. I'm like, what the hell? That is crazy. So definitely it's something that I'm looking into. And then another thing I was looking into as well, just in case if I really want to, it really just depends on the way things go. But at my current job too, they also have maintenance, which I'm not sure if that's something I would like to get into, but that's just only if I feel like by 2028, I'm not really making moves with IT yet. I could probably get into maintenance just for the pay aspect of things, and then eventually still go down into IT. What is up, Siri? What is up? But no, yeah, man, that was just amazing to finally see that, and then to really have like a plan just kind of laid out, and to see that the skills that I could offer to certain companies would pay that, if you could really book yourself and make yourself look nice with your certifications, degree, labs, experience, freelance work, and actual job experience. I'm like, bro, I'm shocked people don't get into this stuff. I'm shocked. But the problem is that a lot of people just want like a 6-figure job. For me, I honestly would be okay just making 4K a month, maybe even close to 4K, like 3,700, 3,600, like that would be okay for me. I think I could live a pretty good life off of that. Now, if I added a kid into that, probably not, but with no kids, just like how I am now, I'm like, that wouldn't be a bad income. And what I make now isn't bad either, especially with the fact that we have overtime. It's not bad either, but once that overtime gets cut, and it still wouldn't be bad even with cut overtime, but it's just like, of course you would always want to be able to make more for the less amount of hours that you work, be able to make what I make without the overtime, with just a regular 8-hour shift would be nice. But since I'm so young, I'm just willing to take that grind, but I really am happy that I'm learning a skill that really gets paid pretty good for when you end up being in the right company. And I'm at like one of the most perfect jobs to kind of be at for a nice, easy internal transfer for some good pay for an entry level position. And then even if the entry level position, like I said, is 60 to 70K, imagine when I get into tier 2, tier 3, I can't believe they're offering that much for entry. Like, because at any other job outside of a government type of thing, or outside of a healthcare, outside of a big tech company or a university, if it's like a small tech company, they literally will probably pay you like almost 47 to 60. So the fact that a government type of job or a healthcare type of job can pay you 70 to 80, 90 already, that's insane. But I do know why they do it, because there's just not a lot of job security. But I was just so happy to kind of see that on the internal transfer, because it just gives me hope that like one of these days my job or something around me will offer that, and I will feel just as qualified to go for it. So I'm happy about that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit about what I have been studying as well. If y'all have any questions too, y'all can definitely go ask away. I know I'm yapping, but so I ended up looking at, which I'm about to go and show y'all on the screen, which I feel like I kind of show this a lot as well. But I'm about to go and show y'all the CompTIA A plus objectives, because I want to kind of show y'all how close, I am to hopefully feeling ready to go and study and get this CompTIA A plus, man. I've just been having a blast, honestly, thinking about everything and just getting super excited about the stuff that I want to do. But for instance, something so far that I've ended up learning for the A plus core 1 was hardware. I think the only thing, like I said, was the cables and connectors, maybe some peripheral devices like printers, scanners. These are probably some things I'm gonna have to learn on the outside. And then configuring power supplies and cooling solutions. I think I might know this, but it would really probably take a little bit more as well. Maybe I would say I might have like 15% secured here. But that's simply for hardware. And then for hardware and networking troubleshooting, I honestly think I wouldn't say I got 28, but I think I have a good idea of the troubleshooting. I don't know it by fact, but if you give me a nice little multiple choice, I think this one I would be a lot more confident in being able to answer this part correctly. But then over here, I was looking at the operating systems the other day, and something I was kind of nervous about was, do I actually know enough about the operating system to kind of move forward? Which I know there's still a lot to pretty much learn with Windows, because I need to get into the Windows tools, get into the Mac OS tools, and get into the Linux side of things here. Though it only says that it really gets into the Windows tools, a part of it is about OS installation, so I do gotta find a virtual machine or a website that allows me to create virtual machines and be able to do that. And then also handling file systems updates and OS upgrades, which I think, not gonna hold you, I'm very confident with my file systems. A lot of these flashcards here, I'm not sure how much there are, but I think it might be this, maybe even a little bit more, but a lot of these flashcards here are about file systems, and I can answer them like super easily, maybe except for like 5 of them, which is crazy because it's probably about, not 100, but there's just a lot. So I'm like, file systems, I feel super confident about. OS installation, I haven't seen it, but I do know about installing operating systems. So maybe I can answer some of those questions correctly. So I kind of feel super confident with my operating systems questions here. I'm not too sure though, because if we go down to Professor Messer's videos, I do want to go and show it real quick. If we do go down to Professor Messer's, let's view his course. I'm on the 1202, by the way. I currently am at, on my other channel, the Windows feature. And then we end up getting into the task manager, which is something that is also, as y'all can see, on the operating system. So we're going to get a little bit into that. The Microsoft Management Control, basically just a bunch of the Windows tools that, as you can see, is a huge part of the operating system side of things. So I'm happy to finally get in there. He says website to create with VMs. Oh, did I say website? I meant to say I want to use virtual machines to be able to install operating systems. But then we get into Windows settings. So all of this is basically a part of the Windows tools that I need to get into. It's about maybe 10 videos, I believe. from where I'm left off, something like that, 10, 11 videos. And then we get into the Mac OS features, and then we get into Linux. And that's when we finally jump a little bit more into cloud and security. So we're kind of getting through this CompTIA A+. Is about 78 videos. I know we're kind of early on in the videos, so that kind of brings me to my point of potentially doing a lot more of my studying without necessarily talking. Because, and we're going to come back to this screen real quick. But the reason why I say that is because I did have an experience of when I was super sick. I decided to go and record myself studying. And I just decided to put it on in the background for 12 hours, run it so it could allow you guys to have a study space and practically study with me. But obviously, I'm not really there for like the first hour, or I mean for the next couple of hours. But pretty much I felt like I ended up getting through the video a lot more quicker. I felt like I had a lot more information that was so much more understood. And a part of this journey, and the main part of this journey, of course, is to make sure that I'm learning IT support. So if I'm just kind of sitting there and, I'm going through this, and I'm realizing, I just learn a lot better when I'm not maybe talking, or not that I learn a lot better, but that I feel like I just get through it more quicker. It's probably going to be best for me to end up learning things kind of not on camera, specifically with me talking. So I think I'm probably going to pick certain days where I do it, or maybe I might talk before the stream, or I might talk like right after the stream, and then I kind of just immediately go into the study with me videos, because it's just going to allow me to, really learn, you know what I mean? And I think that's just the biggest thing about this, because if I'm seeing jobs being offered to entry-level positions and it's at that amount of pay and it gives that good experience for yourself, and I really want to make a career for myself in IT, that's gonna obviously have to be the main focus here, which I think is gonna be great. I think I'm gonna find a good way to kind of manage it. I'm still kind of deciding, and yeah. And so also look forward to January. That's going to be a lot of when we get hands-on. We're going to be solving a bunch of help desk tickets. We're going to be, you're going to see me actually for the first time hop in the task manager and kind of learn it a little bit, trying to understand what exactly task manager is. And it's just going to be pretty lit. So I'm glad that y'all are definitely coming with me for the journey, to be honest. So let's hop back in here. If y'all had any more questions, could definitely ask away. But then, yeah, so there's kind of a lot that we need to get to, but simply for Core 2, though, we do have a good amount here, and then there's not really much left except for security, software troubleshooting, which this might be, like, I might just know this naturally by accident. So, A. And then we have the operational procedures. You said, damn, surprise stream? No, yes. I mean, I put it in my YouTube post, but I don't think anyone really saw it. But I do have to get off soon. I just wanted to kind of yap it up with y'all. And then we got networking here, protocols, ports, Soho. I can't wait to finally really get into all these things. I actually ran into this person who was talking to me about not the resources. Where is it at? I think it was these, where they sent me some labs and then some search studies. I'm not too sure, but they said one of these here for the 1 and 2 that they actually have some good labs that you can end up purchasing and practicing with. So I'm assuming it's all of these. But this one's perform, so I guess this one's like what you would really do for 819. This is 665, 268, 172, which I wouldn't mind purchasing these, but a part of me is thinking like, I think Professor Messer kind of does it, and he obviously does a lot of it for free. And if we look at Professor Messer's website as well, he also here has a bundle that's a lot more cheaper than that I've heard is actually very helpful. He has notes and exam combos for $50, which I probably, I heard the notes aren't really that detailed or aren't really that deep. So part of me is probably thinking, if anything, I should just straight up go for the practice exams. I heard that they're really good in making sure that you know the CompTIA A+. The only thing is I was hoping is that I could hopefully kind of see like how many practice exams does it offer. either way, $30 isn't really much, but I've heard that this is really helpful when it comes to the CompTIA A plus. So part of me is thinking I should end up getting this, and then this is for the 1202, and then I would also have to look at the 1201 as well to get these little exams. And then of course you got exam compass, which isn't really like as good, just because exam compass, you know, is simply just the same question. So once you kind of don't get it anymore, like eventually if you just keep going through it, like you're gonna get it. So they have exam objectives here that actually go into detail, which I didn't even know. What the hell? Let me go and see. They have acronyms. So this is equipment. Let me go and see it, because I actually didn't know. This is exam, accreditation, install and configure, all of these beautiful things. But I want to see, does it get into detail? So here's the operating system section. Oh, it actually does. Yo, this is crazy. So this gets even into more detail, so you can kind of understand what you need to be learning. It says the website that you were prior has labs, so like how you wanted to install operating systems and mess with the command line, it includes labs. No, yes, that's what I was just thinking about too, because I was looking at it. I'm like, I wouldn't mind getting it, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that they're probably going to offer is like you could kind of just do it for free, is what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? But it could be very helpful, like who knows. But I really do like what this is saying here as well. And then this is talking about all the file systems that you should know, which I'm very confident with all of them, really except for this one. But I if you ask me a question about it, I honestly think I would get it because I know everything else. And then maybe except for this one too. But because I know everything else with exFAT, X4, that I've been really focused on file system types, that I think I would do honestly really well there. All those damn flashcards are about that. But then I guess when it comes to over here, I feel like a part of me, it would really depend on how you ask the question if I could get this right, like the boot methods. But I really do believe too, that a lot of this could be simply solved just by me installing. I know a clean install means everything is getting deleted. An upgrade means you are kind of keeping a lot of the information, but you're upgrading a particular part in the installation. It's basically like what we do. Like, well, this is an upgrade, not an update, unless it's similar. I know, or is that a repair installation? Actually, I think I said what a repair installation was. I'm not sure. Well, you know, but I do know what a lot of these ones are as well. Image deployment is where you're basically doing it and you're putting it on an image, so you could use that image to then put it on different computers, stuff like that. I know with the USB one, which I don't know exactly which type of installation that would be to use the USB, but I do know that you're not putting the operating system on the USB. That was just something that always popped up in one of the questions. It's like, no, you're not putting it on there. But I know GUID. So a lot of this, I feel like I would do well here too. When it comes to the OS installation, I do think there's still, like I said, a lot more to learn though, in the sense of I do need to quiz myself and I need to give myself these flashcards, because that's how I learned a lot about the file systems, was because I put all of this like on flashcards. And then kind of, I want to say here is where things kind of take a left. Like I haven't really got to here. Compare and contrast basic features. Like maybe we've compared, but I didn't even know this was going to be something kind of on the test in a way. I do know UFI and stuff like that, clean upgrades in place, okay. But when it comes to this type of stuff, so I don't know if we didn't get there. It's possible we didn't get there. Oh, y'all, my dog scared the hell out of me. And then we kind of didn't get here either. So we're going to have to take, like, but I'm super happy that I just found this. I'm about to bookmark it for later, low key. Because this gets even into more detail. Like, this is amazing, y'all. This is amazing. So you can use USB as a bootable OS. No, yes. But for some reason, they kept asking me a specific question about, like, when on the, like, it was something like, I don't know how they asked it, but I just remember that the answer out of all of them was that you do not put the OS on the USB. But I don't know if it was because it was like a certain installation that it was asking about. It could have been, honestly, it could have been a certain installation. I could try and see if I could find the flashcard. I believe I even wrote it down as an answer, where it was like, don't put it on the USB or something, was the responsible answer. But I don't remember how they asked, man. It was like a certain way. But then that was like the only thing that I feel like I remembered. It was like I was like, just don't put on the damn USB. Or yeah, because it was something like that. I remember it being like a multiple choice. Oh no, I'm gonna have to see. Because all of these are not really wait, let me see. Yeah, so it was like what action is not required when installing a USB drive. So that was the way they asked it. And then it was like installing the operating system onto the USB is not required when installing. So maybe it's something you could do, but it's not something that you have to do. But that was something that I was getting into though. But y'all, we are obviously going to have to be coming to an end. I'm so sorry for starting this stream super late, to be honest. But I'm happy that I ended up coming on because I do not want to miss a day at all. But I know this is probably going to be one of my least performing streams, but that is all right. At the end of the day, I want to stay consistent and stuff like that. If y'all have any more questions, you can definitely message me privately on Discord or Instagram. I would go and respond. But I will be catching you on the next one. I love y'all so much. Sorry for this short stream. Deuces.